Okay, so I started the recording and I'm going to go ahead and start this session. So I want to first start off by saying hello and welcome everyone to your final week of Psychology of Play. So it's week 4, you guys, last week. My name is Jessica Xavier and I will be taking you through this journey today. So I want to say hello to my sections out there. I've seen a couple of my students in the chat box. So hello, guys. I know I get some students who ask me, when I'm going to actually teach a go-to training session. We here in Psychology of Play, we like to rotate the weeks with all the instructors, well, some of the instructors, and I usually teach the last week, the final week, just to get you guys excited on your journey here at Full Sail, just to get great feedback from you guys from everything that you've learned through this class. So I really like doing week 4 because it's my chance to kind of connect with you all. Sometimes being online, we feel a bit disconnected. So that's why I really enjoy Go To, and I really enjoy the final week because I get to hear from all of you about your takeaways and how excited and motivated you are to just continue on here at Full Sail and accomplish your goals and your dreams. So can you guys believe that we are already in week 4? This month really flew by. Willie says time flies. Exactly. Before you know it, you'll be graduating and you'll be starting your careers. And speaking of careers, today we're going to talk about them, but not in the sense of what you want to do, but rather focus on the reason for doing what you want to do. We're going to zero in and we're going to try to discover our purpose and why we really do the things we enjoy doing. And also, we all know that balancing work and play can be difficult. And I know you guys probably felt that a lot during this month with the weekly plan, trying to get all of those goals you put out there accomplished. So you may find it a little difficult to actually balance all of that. And sometimes it's because of all the responsibilities and obligations we have. And then it also can be from stressors that we encounter. Sometimes daily life just takes a toll on us and we don't want to do anything but rest. And most of your industries will contribute to some form of stress. So if you have that ability to manage your action, it's going to be vital to your success. So what's interesting about stress is that it's driven largely by our own perception. Usually, these perceptions involve us thinking that something's unfair, it's out of our control, and it's stopping us from attaining our goals. So today we're going to talk about how to manage some of those actions. And we're going to think about how to manage some of those actions and those thoughts so we can actually have our lives and our careers be less stressful, and we can actually have that balance that we need. So to start us off, we're going to look inward at ourselves. We need to think about our own core values and how they play a role in our perceptions. So I want you to think about what's important to you for a moment. I want you to consider what's important to you at your core. So consider the definition of core when you're thinking about what's the most important to you. So when you think about it, the definition of core value, a value can be a standard of behavior. What, in your opinion, you find most important in life. And value can also be something of worth or usefulness, maybe even a principle or quality of something. Some examples of common core values are respect, freedom, choice, and independence. So sometimes it's not always easy to identify what you value. I see some of you guys in the chat box started typing in some of your values. Sometimes it doesn't come that easy for everyone. And I know for me, it was a difficult process. So here are some things to think about during this reflection. So what turning points have you experienced in your life? Maybe some powerful moments that had a decisive impact on you. You know, we've all experienced moments in our lives that, we just, it's like an aha moment at times. I mean, like, wow, that was something. You cherish that moment and you find yourself valuing things because of that moment. And also, which values have grown from those experiences? Which of your values have been strengthened through those experiences? Maybe even challenged or changed. Also, your beliefs. What do you believe to be true about life? What are your priorities in life? Which sayings or quotes do you really like? What just like, and this goes hand in hand with what you did last week, your assignment you did last week, your motivation poster. A lot of you put a lot of quotes down that you value. It helps motivate you. So what does those quotes and sayings say about your values? One thing that helps narrow down the process a lot is when I suggest looking at your anger triggers. So, what's going on right now in the world or maybe around you that makes you angry? If things start coming to your mind, it's probably because you value them. For example, if you value freedom, you're going to become frustrated, angry, and upset when you find that freedom is restricted. And if you value acceptance, you're going to be angry, you're going to be mad, you're going to be furious when you see stories out there about discrimination. Another exercise is to ask yourself, which values would you like to pass on to people you care about? What do you want to be remembered for? I know as a mother, this is really important to me. I make sure to talk to my children every day about what's going on in the world and how so many things are not right and what we can do in our everyday life to take action. Some of the common core values are respect, which I've seen you guys type in the chat box, freedom, choice, independence. You can always refer back to the character strength surveys from week 2 to help determine what you value, what your core values are. You remember when you did those surveys and you found love, appreciation of beauty, excellence, honesty, fairness, love of learning. All of those could be things that you value. And I know one thing that I feel strongly about is having compassion. I have seen so much judgment and negativity lately that I think it's a good reminder that we all need to reset sometimes. And what I mean about having compassion is just having the authentic and genuine belief that most people want to do good work. That most people are capable of creating extraordinary things if they're given that right environment. And we all have a story, a past, or an internal battle that we're struggling with. And when we go into our interactions with a mindset of compassion, we allow ourselves to see this. We allow ourselves to have patience for other people. We allow ourselves to have empathy for others and try to understand where they're coming from. So this allows us to open that door to communicate honestly. So now that I told you guys about what, you know, one of my core values, I want to hear from you all. So what are some of your core values? Where's my questions? Okay, there you go. So what are your top 5 core values? So take a second, think about it, and go ahead and type in the chat box for me. You can also raise your hand if you like. I want to hear your top 5 core values. If you're typing them or verbalizing them, it puts it in the forefront of your mind. So, and I also want to see what your classmates value and to see if it's different from everyone else. So go ahead and think about your top 5 core values and type them in the chat box for me. Or you can raise your hand if you have a mic and you want to just tell me what your core values are. Let's see. Roxana says family and responsibility. Tammy says spirituality, family, happiness. Chat box is jumping. Evaluation of self, helping others. Okay. Julissa says honesty. Jonathan says commitment. Daniel says loyalty, trust, love, relationships, and be original. I like that one, Daniel. Be original. There's only one you or one me, however you say it. Okay, let's see. Roxana, helping hand. Abdul says honesty, trust, strength, good sense of humor. Trevor says respect, loyalty, family, honesty, and trust. Douglas says question why can't question one. Douglas, is that question for me? I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. Terry says family, freedom, happiness, honesty, and loyalty. Love. Terry says family, freedom, honesty, happiness, and loyalty. Okay, Tammy says love. Original comment. Oh, I do too. I love that original comment. Tammy. Let's see. Teresa says compassion, spirituality, kindness, freedom, love. Dudley says my family, trust, love, freedom. Okay. Douglas, I'm not sure what you refer to about why can't you attend Mac OS. I'm not quite sure. What do you mean by that? Is that a training are you referring to? All I can tell you, Douglas, is to contact FSO support to assist you with the issues you may have, because I don't have the answer to that, and I'm sorry. But if you contact FSO support, I'm sure they'll be able to assist you. Oh, okay. Let's see. Jonathan says faith, maturity, passion, purpose, and love, and commitment. Okay. Wow, you guys have some great values. And I've seen some of them are similar to things that I've seen in the past, and some of them are things I'm seeing for the first time. Like I really be original. That was what first I saw that, and I think that's wonderful. That's a great comment. I mean, that's a great value. Sorry. Okay, Jonathan. If for any reason, if you guys are having issues with your connection or your signal on your internet, where you're getting lots of freezing or in and out audio, if you can't get to a better area to get a better signal, I am recording the session, so you can always go back to the archive session and listen to what you missed. Okay, so I have another question for you all. Now that you've been able to think about what you value and you've been able to, think about your top five values. I can't talk right now. Your top five values, and you're able to type them all out so you know what your top five values are. What are you doing in your life right now that reflects your core values? So think about that question and answer it for me. What are you doing in your life right now that reflects your top five core values? You can type in the chat box. You can raise your hand. What are you doing right now in your life that reflects all those wonderful values that you just stated in the chat box for me a minute ago? Let's see. I see Daniel says, I'm a graphic designer. Okay. Jeremy says, going to church. Abdul says, my music. Okay. Tammy says, attending school, working within the local community, and holding women's retreats each year, learning tools to deal with my unhappiness and stress. Oh, great. Okay. Michael says, meditation, and music. Let's see. Thomas is attending school. Jeremy says spending more time with my kids. Tyler says I'm in the full-time ministry right now. Let's see. Dustin says sticking it out at a job I hate so I can support myself, my wife until I finish school. Also creating a video game in my free time. Okay. Yeah, a lot of times we may find ourselves in a job that we dislike. But you're here, you're in school, you're working towards your goal to accomplish and achieve that passion that you have. And you see the light. You're gonna eventually see the light down the tunnel. You're gonna graduate. You're gonna get that career that you want to do, that you love to do. Let's see, John. Let's see what else. Douglas is attending school and helping people. Willie says school, ministry, and community. Dudley says I watch my two girls and spend time with my other family and my music and teaching my drummers and in school. Okay. Jonathan says going back to church and school. Roxana says I've been making food and giving it to people on the streets. That's a very good thing, Roxana. That is a great thing. Let's see. Let me see if I miss anybody in the chat box. If I'm pausing because I'm scrolling, trying to make sure I got all of you guys' answers to the question. Douglas says attending school, helping people. Jonathan says following the divine inspirations. Teresa says attending church and school and taking advantage of all the wonderful opportunities that are giving me to forward with my goals. Great one. Great. You guys are doing so much wonderful things that reflects what you value. I appreciate you guys sharing that with me. So much wonderful things out there. I'm just going through the chat box one more time because you guys are saying so great things, and I don't want to miss any of them. So I'm just scrolling to make sure I got everybody's answer to the question. So just give me 1 second because the chat box goes by so fast and it jumps. Yes, Dustin, you guys are very talkative, but I appreciate that because we're in the go-to session. I want to hear you guys respond back to my questions. I don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself. I really can't see you guys, so I want to hear from you. So I appreciate all of you guys out talking and moving the chat box. It gets me excited to hear you guys answering my questions. So I appreciate it. So now that we have some idea of what's important to us and what we value, this is going to help us identify our why, our purpose for doing what we want to do. So I know you guys may have watched the Golden Circle before, but now that we've touched on our values, you may find that you take something more from it, maybe even a clearer picture of your why. So go ahead and click the material section and click on the golden circle clip. I'm going to mute myself. So go ahead and watch that clip, and once you're done, just type done in the chat box for me. Yes, it is an awesome video, Jeremy. So that's why I love to show it in the go-to training. So go ahead and watch that clip and type done in the chat box for me. It's not the whole video, so it's just a minute or minute and a half or something like that of the video. And if you have problems loading it, try another browser because I don't think it works well in Firefox. Just go ahead and watch that clip and type done for me in the chat box. Okay, it seems like I'm getting more people with the done in the chat box. It seems like most of you guys are done. Great, great, great. I know a few people watched the video before, but I don't want to continue on and while the others were watching that video clip. So when we talk about purpose in this class, a lot of students struggle with their purpose. They aren't sure why they do what they do. So that's why we start with values. So that's why I started with values today. Sometimes starting with what's important to you can help you narrow down your why statement. So let's go back to core values. What do you do? What's important to you? So now I want you to take a second and think about your why. What what is your why? What's your purpose? So using the golden circle, because I know it's a great video clip. So using the golden circle, spell out your why. Start with the why, then the how, and finally the what. So I want to hear from you guys. Now that you know what you value, it's going to be easy to see your purpose. It's going to be easy to see what your why statement. So this is your time to personally write down your own why statement using the golden circle. Start with the why, then the how, and finally the what. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to think about that and go ahead and type it in the chat box for me. You can raise your hands, whatever you prefer. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear your why statement. So I want to hear what's your why. What is your purpose? Tammy says to make the world a better place, to be the change that I wish to see in the world. Okay, wonderful. Is that a statement? Is that just a quote, Tammy, or is that a quote that you live by, or is that your own personal why statement? I want to hear your own personal why statement. So here's your time to make your own why statement quote, just to show your purpose. Abdul says my purpose have a balance of life and peace. Okay. Dustin says, I want to give gamers the games they want and motivate them to follow their passion. Okay, great why statement. It takes a minute to type up those why statements. So let's see. Marlon says, happiness and expansion. Okay, remember, use the golden circle to actually develop your why statement. Start with the why, then the how, and finally the what. Tammy says it is. I live by this quote. My personal statement has always been failure is not an option, and if you won't bleed for your magic, then who will? Okay. Roxana says my purpose is to show the world that anything is possible. Daquan says financial freedom, my only hope. Leroy says to be able to create better future for my family. Daniel says to help everyone brand themselves and market the best version of themselves. My success is in the other's success. Okay. Michael says, I want to help create music that people can connect with on a personal level, to help them get through whatever they are going through by creating music they can relate to. Great, great why statement, Michael. Anyone else want to share their why statement? Okay. Is it Kelsey? I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. Kelsey says, I want to be able to tell different stories, whether it's through comics or through animations, which had originally gave me inspiration to want to become an animator. Great why statement. Douglas says, to create a better version of myself, one that makes me happy. Wonderful. Willie says, to create, inspire, and tell a story. That's great too. You guys are coming up with some great why statements. Zachary says, to leave this world with no regrets. Willie says to be a co-creator with God. Michael says, I plan on telling my entire story through music. I have so much to say. Thank you for the kind words. You're welcome. Okay. What else? Let me see. Anybody else wants to share their why statement? Let me go through the chat box and make sure I didn't miss any of them. Jonathan says, I want to create video games that point to Jesus in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Great why statements. Jonathan says, my purpose is to manifest the truth within me within every situation to bring forth the most impactful real moments. Chat box jumping. To bring forth the most impactful real moments that have real emotions, communicate love in the most sincere and real way. Great why statement, Jonathan. Great. You guys have came up with some wonderful why statements. You guys are taking the time to think about what you value, and you're taking the time here right now to develop your own personal why statements. And you know what I want you guys to do for me with those? I just don't want you to leave it in the chat box. You took the time, you thought about it, you have a purpose. You wrote your purpose down in the chat box. So now I want you to take what you wrote and put it on a piece of paper, on a sticky note, on a computer, anywhere you can put it that you can always go back and reflect on it. This is your own personal why statement. This is your own purpose that you can go back to when you need that extra push or you need that extra motivation to move forward. You know that you're right here in the beginning stages of your journey here at Full Sail. And a lot of times you may stumble upon creative blocks or, things that you may feel like you can't continue or push forward. You may need that extra that extra motivation to get you through those creative blocks or get you through that situation so you can move forward, so you can accomplish your goals and achieve all your dreams and aspirations and everything that you set forth to accomplish while you're here. So put that somewhere so you can always go back and reflect on it. This is your personal why statement. So there's quotes out there that you love from other people, like somebody put the Gandhi quote in the chat box, but this is your own personal quote. This is your own personal why statement. This is what you put out there that's within you, that's going to help you move forward in life. So please put it somewhere that you can always reflect and go back to it, because you're going to need that. You're going to need that extra push, because you're going to come through some troubling times and some hard times here, in your journey. Your journey it's not going to always be easy, but if you know what your purpose is in life and you know what you value and you have that why statement, it's going to help you move forward. Okay, so now that you guys created your why statement, so even if we know our values and purpose in life, it's not always going to be easy to work towards them. Sometimes along our journey, we're going to encounter stressful situations, and it's going to lead us into some self-defeating thoughts, especially when the going gets tough. So as I mentioned at the beginning, stress is driven largely by our own perceptions. And usually these perceptions are going to involve us thinking that something's unfair, it's out of our control, it's going to stop us from attaining our goals. So the ABCDE model is helpful in those moments when our perceptions aren't benefiting us in a positive way. So this model, it's going to allow us to take ownership of our thoughts, our feelings, and our reactions. So this is an important skill to build, as life has a way of always throwing us curveballs. And it's kind of like anything else. The more we practice it, the better we get at it. So let's go ahead and go through each letter, and then we're going to do an example together. So A. This is the acting event. This is the problem or the situation. So this is what happened. So B, belief system. This is your automatic thoughts after the bad event problem or even situation happened. It's that self-talk. What are your negative self-talk statements that come right after a negative event happened? C, consequences. It's the resulting feelings or emotion after your negative self-talk statements. What are the usual consequences of this belief? How does this belief influence what you're going to do next? D is your dispute thinking. So this is where you challenge those self-taught beliefs or negative thoughts from B. How accurate is this belief? Are there any other possible options? Is the situation changeable? And E is the effect, the new effect, the new emotion after you've disputed those negative thoughts. So this is that new emotion. How did you feel? What were the positive effects of actually disputing that problem? Can you let it go now? Okay, so we're going to do an example together. Let me go back to A. So A is the acting event. So I'm going to give you guys a scenario and we're going to go from B, C, D, and E together. Okay? So A, the acting event. Let's say you guys are on your way to work, if you guys come to campus, school, somewhere. You're in the car, you're driving, and bam, you get a flat tire. So this is the acting event, the negative problem. You're on your way somewhere, you have your destination, you left at a time that you know you're going to arrive at the place or your destination on time, but you got a flat tire, so you stopped. You can't go anywhere. So a problem happens, and then those negative thoughts start to creep up on us, and that's B. So what are those negative thoughts that's sitting in your head right now as you're sitting in the car thinking about this flat tire and thinking about how you're not on your way to your destination? What are those negative thoughts or negative emotions or those self-talk statements? What's going on right now? I'm going to be late to work. I'm not going to make it to work on time. Great, now I'm late. Great, now I'm going to be late. Exactly. Just my luck, like Daniel says. Exactly. Roxana, yes, I'm fired. We think about all this stuff as why did this happen to me, Willie? Exactly. We start thinking about all these things, Like Willie says, you start thinking about, oh my God, this thing always happens to me. Why me? Just like Jeremy says, why does this happen to me? Why me? I don't have cash for a new tire, like Jaleesa says. Yes, like we just start thinking. We just automatically start to think negative. You don't have cash for a new tire. You're gonna be late. You're gonna get fired. You just start having those negative thoughts process in your mind. So C is the emotional consequences. This is the actual resulting feelings of those emotions. Remember, we're thinking negatively right now. We're in a situation, our negative thoughts just came up and crept up on us, and this is how we think. We're going to get fired. We're going to be late. Why me? So what are the usual consequences of these beliefs? How does the belief influence what you're going to do next? So, what are the emotions that come next? Okay, Daniel says stress, fear, anger. Exactly. Dustin says stress and frustration. Exactly. It's anger, frustration. You get mad. You're stressful. All of those emotions come through. Your whole day seems to get worse, like Jeremy says. You're worried. You're stuck. Jonathan says. Well, he says anxiety. Yep, exactly. You get all of these emotions, these because of your belief system. So D is you dispute the thinking. So you take a second, you think back, you have a chance to take a deep breath and you breathe and you think about the situation. Okay, it's a flat tire. You start to dispute your self-talk belief. It's just a flat tire. You start to focus on the bad. Okay. Dustin says I have a spare in the trunk. Okay, exactly. You start to think about, is this accurate? Are there any other possible options? Is the situation changeable? I can call a mechanic, like Jonathan says. Exactly. You start to think about these things like, is this really a bad situation? Or is this something simple that can easily be fixed? You start to challenge those negative thoughts. Michael says you call AAA. Douglas says it's just a flat tire. You change it. You call your road assistant, Leroy says. Jeremy says, wait, I have an emergency fund. You do, Jeremy? Would you like to share? I'm just joking. Yes, you have an emergency fund, like Jeremy says. What else do you do? Where's that donut at? Willie says. Exactly. You start to dispute those self-negative thoughts, and you realize the situation is not as bad as you thought it was, because those negative thoughts just start to creep up on you, and they have you thinking in a negative way. So you got to dispute those negative thoughts. Jonathan says notify work that you're going to be late. Abdul says you get rid of the hoopty and get a new real car if you can, maybe, if possible. I don't know. I mean, Jeremy has an emergency fund, so Jeremy may be able to do that. Others may not, but just joking. Um, get the bus, exactly. I'm gonna remember that, Jeremy. I'm just joking. Um, so exactly, this is when you start to dispute those thoughts. So after you disputed those thoughts, you have a new effect. You have a new emotion. So how do you start to feel right now? You disputed the thoughts. You realize it's not as bad as you thought it would be. You came up, with other solutions after you disputed those thoughts. How do you feel right now? Jeremy says you feel relieved. It's relief. Exactly. It could have been worse, Leroy said. Yes, you feel calm, Jonathan says. Okay. Exactly. You feel relief. You feel positive. You feel a little better, but you may still be a little stressed, because of the situation. But as you start to naturally dispute your negative thoughts, you're gonna find that you're not gonna get as stressed as you usually do. It's all about taking the time to dispute all of those negative thoughts, so you can start to automatically think in a more positive way. Michael says you feel a sense of accomplishment. Exactly, because you're like, you know what, no big deal. Let me change this tire and call my job, let them know I'm going to be late, and keep it moving. So you do feel like you have a sense of accomplishment. Okay, so consider something that has happened to you maybe this morning or this week that you can apply the ABCDE method to that scenario. So with practice, we will begin to naturally apply this model to dispute and combat our potential negative thoughts that would creep up on us in that moment. So the more we practice it with scenarios we might consider small, then we increase the likelihood of applying this to scenarios we might consider larger than others. Consider using the model in your life, especially as each of you continue your academic journey and start to work in your industries. So since we were talking about the situation and it got us all stressed out because of the fact that it was a, it was a situation, and our negative thoughts started to creep in and we got stressed out. So now we have to try to decrease that stress. So our day-to-day lives are filled with so many activities and thoughts that have our minds constantly going. How can we keep our minds healthy when we're bombarded with so much? It's simple. We need to be mindful. And mindfulness is purposeful, non-judgmental awareness built from paying attention to our present environment, physical sensations, thoughts, and feelings. So during today's session, I want to do an activity to help decrease your stress, to so that you could pay better attention into that, and it can help you be more mindful. So what we're going to do right now is go to the material section, click on the mindful activity, and it's a 3-minute mindful breathing activity. So I'm gonna mute myself so I can be quiet so you guys can fully concentrate on this mindfulness activity. And when you're done, just write done in the chat box for me. So I want you guys to really be into this. This is your time to be focused and be at one with the activity that you guys need to do. So go ahead, click on that mindful activity and write done in the chat box for me when you're done. Okay, it seems like you guys are wrapping up from that little activity. Abdul, your hand is raised. Did you have a question, Abdul? Did you want me to unmute you? Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and put that down. Okay, so seems like all of you are done with that. So now that you all are back from your guided mindful breathing journey, how do you feel? How do you guys feel? Abdul says, okay. Okay. Dudley says, sleepy. How do you guys, anybody else? Good, not too bad, clear, stress free, feel relaxed. Okay. All positive emotions. Great. Relaxed and sleepy. Wake me up in a few hours. Okay. Abdul meditates every day. That's great. Zachary says relaxed. Okay. Have you all ever had have you ever experienced some form of guided meditation before? I know Abdul says he meditates every day. Have any of you guys done any other sort of? I'm guessing yes. Okay. No. Once. Okay. Not guided. Okay. So I see no. So I got a couple people. This is the first time with that. Yeah, yoga can count. So for those of you that said no, and this is actually your first time doing some form of meditation, this is a great way to. It's a great goal to put in your maybe your push category of your weekly plan. Just to try to do it at least maybe once or twice a week to help decrease some of those stressful situations we have going on throughout the week. So this is a great goal to put down in your weekly plan. And now that this is Tuesday and your weekly plan is due today, maybe you can actually try to maybe watch this video a couple more times during the week. So maybe put that in your push category or even your fit category. So remember that mindfulness doesn't mean shutting your mind from the world. It just means improving our ability to focus on one thing at a time. Okay, so I have one more video for you guys today. So go ahead and click on the material section and write down the sorry, I lost my train of thought. Try something new for 30 days. Yes. Go ahead and click on the material section and click on the try something new for 30 days clip. Go ahead and watch that and write down in the chat box for me. Try something new for 30 days. So you guys are done with that clip. Let me see. I'm just reading the comments in the feedback section. Good comment, like the video. Write a novel, good video, great attitude about changing behaviors. I'm happy to hear you guys enjoyed that clip. Let's see. Just want to write a novel, but then I realize I can't make it into a video game instead. Great, great, great. So I'm happy you guys enjoyed that clip. I think it's a great idea. So if you look, let's talk about your weekly plan. If you look at your plan as something to try for at least 30 days. I know you guys did it for the class and you were submitting it as a assignment. So I want you to think about continuing to use your weekly plan and at least for 30 days. Make it a goal to play and include it on your schedule. Make it a goal to even use the ABCDE model at least a few times a day so it starts to become natural. You could start automatically defeating those negative thoughts. Especially, like he said, 30 days is just enough time to make it a habit. So this is also a good concept to use in your push category. So remember, small sustainable changes are things you can keep doing, and they're going to be more likely to stick. And what a better time would you have to assess your life balance and include more play and actually adjust your thinking towards fun and how it can be incorporated into tasks that we perhaps have separated from play in the past. Bring the ideas and activities you've learned about all month to life in your weekly plan. Let's see. I see something in the chat box. Okay, so this is week 4, and sometimes the session doesn't completely go as long as I plan it to go, which is fine because, this gives you more time to go work on that weekly plan that's due tonight. But what I do like to do during this week session is I like to hear what went well for you all. So, what tools or concepts from the courses have you enjoyed or maybe even implementing in your personal or professional lives? So you can type it in the chat box. You can raise your hands and I can unmute you, whatever you prefer. But I want to hear from you all throughout this course, throughout these weeks. What concepts or what tools did you enjoy? And why? Let's see. Terry says gamification. Tammy says the weekly plan, mindfulness, gratitude, flow, a lot. Let's see what else. Flow, gamification. You loved it all. Great. Trevor says I enjoy gamification. Michael says I really went outside the box this month. I went on a boat ride, like literally drove a boat for the first time. Nice, Michael. Roxana says the self-determination theory. Trevor says I really relate to it. Okay. Teresa says I love the weekly plan. It has helped me a ton. Dusta says I like it all, but gamification because I've always done that. Exactly. A lot of times we find ourselves doing those what we've learned in gamification, but now we can actually put a name to what we're doing. So it's just one of those another aha moments when we're reading that gamification section and we're like, wow, I always do this. Now, there's actually a word for what I'm doing. So I'm happy to hear that you guys enjoyed that. Let's see. Dudley says, I love the weekly plan. And just going back to your comment, it's really trying to find your comment again. It really helped me and I tried new things. Okay. Jonathan says, yes, great information and love how it comes with the open book test and I get more into the content based on reading and retaining it plus enjoying. Okay. Tammy says a lot of these tools are that NHS that I practice within community. It resonates with me. Okay. Zachary says I will never work to play, but play to work. And I like that. Kelsey says the weekly plan for sure was my favorite part. It's helped me organize work that needed to be done while still making time for play. Great. That's the whole point of the plans. I'm happy you enjoyed that. Julissa says the weekly plans was like Ayana changing my life. Great to hear, Julissa. Jeremy says the reading was really interesting. I would like to keep it to look back on it later. Okay. Uh, because the reading is on the platform and we don't have like a textbook, I don't know if you want to just copy and paste it on your own Word doc so you can have it for yourself later on. But feel free to do that. It is great information. Let's see. Tammy says the push part was helpful for me. Abdul says he had. That's fine, Abdul. Like I said, the session is being recorded, so I understand if you have to go. Okay, so let's see. Is there any of the concepts or tools that you've learned that you found yourself sharing with others? Maybe you passed it on to a family member or a significant other, you know, or you've maybe adapted it in your own personal, professional life, like on a daily basis. Maybe some of the concepts you've learned. Terry says all of it. Me too. I have to get the wife and babies. No problem, Jonathan. I understand. The meditation, Trevor says. Great. No problem, Jonathan. Dawson says, I talked to my wife about the E3 assessment. She agreed with it all. Okay. Tammy says, my husband and daughter listen today. I have been sharing the formation with them each week. My husband has actually sat in for all of the lectures. Nice. Okay. Tell your husband I said hello and thanks for hanging with us. Trevante says, I talked with my girlfriend about grit and perseverance. Dustin says the good and the bad. Jeremy says I share everything I've learned with my wife. You're welcome, Jonathan. Chris says hi, everyone. Well, hi, Chris. Teresa says I share grit and the gratitude journal. Great. The gratitude journal is a wonderful thing too. That's something else that you can take away from this course and you can, try to implement it in your own personal lives. It's always great to have some have gratitude, and with that gratitude journal it helps you think about and put things into perspective, the little things that we take for granted. So I'm happy you shared that with others, Teresa. Jeremy. Well, Jeremy, if your wife enrolls in Full Sail, she's going to take this class. Psychology Play is taken by all programs, so if she enrolls, she'll be able to take this class. Everybody takes this class. I'm happy your wife and everyone you sharing your information with her is enjoys the information as well. So I like to get positive feedback during week 4 about everything that that we teach here and everything that you learned. So another question I have you all seen a change in yourself throughout the 4 weeks? Terry says yes. And what changes have you seen, if you don't mind sharing? Willie says your mood is better. Okay. Terry says less grumpy. Okay. Tammy says Jeremy says my state of mind. Okay. Julissa says big changes, good changes though. My self-image is better. Nice. Willie says I can see more opportunities. Roxana says I have been more confident in doing things on time. Great. Teresa says yes, absolutely. I actually am not afraid to dream bigger. Nice one, Teresa. Great. I think more about why I do things, Lionel says. Willie says I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Okay. Tammy says I've pushed myself out of my comfort zone as far as my OCD patterns go. Oh, great. Dustin said I thought I would have no free time with working full time and going to school full time, but I actually feel like I have more free times. And a lot of times it's when you have a chance to sit down with the weekly plan to put everything down that you see that you do have some free time, and you can have that time to yourself to do things that you love to do and eat things that bring you joy. So take advantage of those free times. This is when you need to do things that bring you joy to keep you in a positive mood. Kelsey says my mood's improved and I've become more organized than I've been in the past. Roxana says I actually started to push myself, work out and eat healthy. Great. Zachary says I feel like something has been given back to me and that it's time. Nice. I love that you guys have so much positive um, comments in regards to your changes throughout the 4 weeks. I think it's great, and I think it's wonderful that you actually notice and acknowledge the fact that there is this change, and it's a positive change, and it's a change that makes you a better person. So I appreciate you guys sharing that with me. So overall, the goal and the bigger lesson of the month is that you are ideally walking away from this course with ways to incorporate and apply all that play has to offer throughout your personal and professional lifestyle. Play is more than just throwing a ball, and you've done so much more of what play has to offer throughout your creativity this month. There are many things that can be considered play and can bring a healthy balance to how we work and how how work and our personal lives intertwine. We call learning about various company cultures and the incorporation of gamification that many of you in the chat box said you love that. It brings great benefits to how you work and present yourself within the industry. Our personal lives impact our professional lives no matter what way we look at it. So why not make a lifestyle adjustment to include more fun throughout so it can just spill over into our professional side? Consider also all that we've learned about play and how it impacts our brain. So in closing, I really enjoyed hanging with you guys, and you guys coming and hanging with me with the last go-to training session that we have. And like I said, this is the final GTT for PYP. Insert sad face. But you guys have learned so much. You have taken away so much, and I'm happy to hear that you enjoyed the class. So I wish you all the best moving forward in your academic journey. And if you have any questions, I'm here. So feel free to ask whatever questions you may have. If you don't, have a great day. You're welcome, Tammy. Go ahead and do your weekly plan. Get that thing in on time. Do your discussion boards this week. Go out with a bang for week 4. Get that highest grade possible and enjoy. Just enjoy the week and enjoy the moment. Great to hear, Michael. Thank you, Dusty. You have a nice day too. Like I said, if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box for me, and I'll answer them. You're welcome, Teresa. Thank you, Marlon. Have a great day. Have a great day, Michael. You're welcome, Jonathan. You're welcome, Dudley. Enjoy your week too. You're welcome, Lionel. You're welcome, Jeremy. Thank you, Kelsey. Have a great week as well. Marlon, can I post my poster from last week on social media for motivation to the next person? Um, that's fine, Marlon. That's something that you created. So feel free to do so. And also post it somewhere in your, you created it. So post it somewhere within your home so you can use it as motivation as well. I think that's a great idea to do that. So thanks for asking. Does anybody else have any questions? Well, like I said, if you don't have any questions, feel free to log off. But if you do, I'll stay here in here for about a minute or two, just to make sure I can answer your questions. Okay, looks like no one else has any questions. So, you all have a great day and a great week, and thanks for coming.